So, how's everybody doing? I've been talking about kind of like what's going on for as the final vote in FDA approval for the coronavirus vaccine. I talked about what's going on with the shitstorm of a coup attempt, and it forced me to be a little bit late tonight. So for that, I apologize. I'm gonna try to do better next time. Um, Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I know you guys got a lot to do in the midst of this COVID-19. So without any further ado, good evening and welcome to the show. As always, I thank you. I'm honored that you chose to spend your Thursday night with me. Allow me to introduce myself again. My name is Hank Batiste. I'm your host. I'm filling in for my evil twin. No, I'm just teasing. The voices in my head actually do get along. My government name, everyone knows, is Henry Batista, aka Sir Enrique Batista, aka the Renaissance Man of Rennie. So those are the names that I'm known by. And of course, my show is called I Got Something to Say, so it must be true. I have to take a deep breath. Remember about, I don't know, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, when we didn't have a daily briefing of drama unfolding? Um, all I could say is we got about 40 days in the wake up, folks. So hold tight. I'm late because I'm trying to find out what's going on. In the midst of trying to pardon his entire family, Despicable Donnie's loyal cronies are investigating President elect Biden's son, Hunter. Now, this has been going on for a while. Obviously, Real Die number 5, Rudy, and Lindsay the Leash Graham are earning their future pardons. Then there's Ken Paxton, the Texas AG, who himself is being investigated. I'm going to talk about a couple things tonight, maybe a few things. I want to remind everybody, first of all, that Kamala and Joe still need your help in Georgia. If you haven't already voted, the the window is closed to make sure that you're registered. Now all that remains is the election. If you didn't get your early voting in, you've got one more chance. January the 5th, make sure you go out to the polls, vote, get it done. We need. They've done an excellent job. They being Trump, the cronies, and him strong arming the Republicans to get their folks out. Even though some of them are talking about not voting because they don't feel like Trump is being treated right by the rest of the Republican Party, I said let them fight amongst themselves. But let's make sure that we do what we're supposed to do. So let's get out if you're in Georgia and vote. That's number one. Number two, COVID and Thanksgiving. We're starting to see the effects of Thanksgiving travel and family gatherings. Folks, it ain't pretty. A couple of my people have told me that they're positive. A couple of people told me that everybody in their house that went to, and this is not just one family, 2 or 3 families, the entire family was infected with this COVID virus. So it's no joke. And now we're starting to see the effects of that. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Then I want to talk a little bit about Hunter Biden. I want to talk about retired General Lloyd Austin, who, if he is approved, will be the first Black Secretary of Defense. And as much as I hate to, I've got to talk about the shitstorm of a coup attempt. So tonight's show is called COVID Warp Speed Operation Get Out. I got something to say. Let's do this. First thing, I looked up frivolous and no merit in the dictionary. And what I saw was the latest episode of Delusional Donnie's, what I call Bill Murray's Groundhog Day coup attempt. This shit happened over and over and over every day. Another one of his cronies and campaign criminals who's being investigated, Ken Paxton, and now everybody knows about it. He filed a brief with the Supreme Court to get the results in 4 battleground states tossed out so that somehow Trump will get elected. He wants the results of Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan thrown out. And then they have the audacity to say they have to do this so that the righteous president will be quote unquote elected. No, the righteous president has all the people have spoken. But let's go ahead on. Remember when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died? I told you this strategy. I told you this is why they wanted to stack the Supreme Court with their own little cronies. If they can get this, all we can depend on is these Supreme Court justices acting on the letter of the law. This last lady, I promise you, she will be standing poised and ready to do Trump's bidding. So honestly, even though I predicted this move, I had no idea it would be used in a coup attempt. What boggles my mind, and though I understand it, what boggles my mind is why no Republican has spoken out and told this spoiled child to sit his ass down and shut the hell up. Who is Ken Paxton? Suddenly we hearing this name, Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton, I call him Kim because he acts like a, okay, all right. Ken Paxton is the Attorney General in the state of Texas. He's a federal Attorney General working in the state of Texas. He's 3 fries short of a Happy Meal and 1 day short of an orange jumpsuit his damn self. He's being investigated by the FBI because he was part of Trump's campaign and he misused some of those funds. Even his own people turned him in. This is what tipped the FBI off. Ken Paxton is also being investigated for securities fraud. In other words, he's being investigated for insider trading. Imagine somebody in Trump's party cheating. So he's desperately seeking a pardon, a presidential pardon. Hint, hint. Speaking of frivolous and having no merit, Lindsay the Leash Graham actually had the audacity to go on TV. Of course, it was Fox News, so I guess that counts too. And said, and I quote, any Republican who doesn't get off their ass, Lindsay said, any Republican who doesn't get off his ass and support Trump, blah, 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 end of quote. Meanwhile, I got to give a shout out to my homeboy, my Louisiana homeboy, Don Lemon. Don Lemon said, and I quote, so the elections were rigged, but everybody else on the Republican ticket won except you. Face it, they just don't like you. Folks, I'm up 2:00 in the morning last night. I hear this and it just tripped me out. I was like, I have to give my man a shout out. When 7 million more people voted for Joe Biden nationwide They spoke loud and clear. I'm inclined to agree wholeheartedly with Don Lemon on this one. Or as Bunquisha Alizé Mercedes Washington would say, boy, bye. I don't know what I'm on tonight. Moving on. Meanwhile, in the real world, the Republicans have an alternate universe. But meanwhile, in this real world that we live in called America, yesterday was a momentous occasion. December the 9th, all 50 states and the District of Columbia certified their elections. This means that all 50 states and DC said that their votes are valid. And yes, you guessed it, Biden with more than 7 million more popular votes and 306 electoral delegates, wait for it, is president-elect of these United States. 7 months ago, I told you, I said Biden has to decisively beat Trump so that the delegates of the Electoral College could not dissent or go rogue from the will of the voters in their respective states. What was not made common knowledge back in 2016 is that 7 electoral delegates went against the will of the people and did what they wanted to do. 5 of them refused to vote for Hillary, and 2 of them refused to vote for Trump. 3 delegates in the state of Washington State, voted for Colin Powell. 1 voted for this Indian. I don't want to call him an Indian chief, but I can't think of his actual title. He's an influential Indian. His name was Face Spotted Eagle. 1 delegate in Hawaii refused to vote for Hillary, went rogue, and voted for Bernie Sanders. In the state of Texas, Trump won the state, but 2 delegates went rogue. 1 voted for John Kasich, and the other one voted for Ron Paul, respectively. Now Delusion Adani is calling in his markers. He's waiving these preemptive plethora of pardons to any and everybody who signs up for his final coup attempt against Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. If you do the math with the number of delegates he have, if he can get those 4 states reversed, he will have the 270 delegates. It's not rocket science, folks. Cheaters are so obvious. That's like writing the answers in the palm of your hand, and every time you look down, you open your hand. This shit is so obvious. The only thing that makes me angry is I think the Dems are just too soft, trying to be a kinder, gentler America. They need to be screaming and hollering the same way the Republicans would be doing if the shoe were on the other foot. I remember back when it was Gore, when Al Gore ran, they screamed and hollered. They took it to the Supreme Court and it was dismissed. So let me just move on. All 4 of these states issued their own briefs to the Supreme Court today. The state of Pennsylvania, and all my folks out there from Pennsylvania, I got much love. The Pennsylvania officials called this frivolous suit a seditious abuse of judicial process. I'm like, what? Moving on. This next section I call COVID press conference squared. Tuesday, I'm on the elliptical in the gym, trying to get my cardio burned a little fat. And I see two conferences. I see one in Delaware, and then I see one from the White House. And I thought the one from the White House was old because there's Trump standing behind the podium. So I repositioned my chair. I left the elliptical and I went and sit on the recumbent bike so that I could read the closed captioning on both broadcasts. Biden's in Delaware doing what I call the authentic COVID conference with the real experts. Trump is in the White House doing what little spoiled kids do. I didn't get an invitation to the party, so I'm gonna plan my party on the same day that your party is. Nah. How childish could you be? Not to be undone, he's standing in front of a backdrop that says Operation Warp Speed. It's like someone is feeding him the data, and there's this simulcast 5-minute delay. So the Biden officials say ABCD. 5 minutes later, Trump says ABCD. And then Trump being Trump, his delusional, despicable behind cannot stay on task. So what did he do? He went off on his tangent that says how he's being victimized and how the Dems did this and it's not fair. Blah, 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 blah. He sound worse than Little Richard. At least Little Richard had a valid claim. My problem is with this. How the hell can you hold a COVID conference? You claim that you, your wife, and your son all had COVID, but you're not compassionate of anyone else. Several of your followers, including Five Dive Rudy and Chris Bag of Donuts Christie, tested positive. Chris Christie was in ICU or in the hospital for at least 2 weeks. Yet you're still convincing your minions that COVID is a farce and not this many people have died. The numbers are exaggerated. The number of cases are exaggerated. Tell that to the families of the people who have lost their loved ones. Yesterday, solemnly, I stayed up because I wanted to see what the final number would be. Yesterday, 3,108 people died by midnight, by 11:59, of the coronavirus. Meanwhile, despicable, delusional Donnie is holding a party in the White House. Biden embraced the science. Biden is doing something. Guess which conference was productive and actually talked about managing COVID? Moving on. Beating COVID. COVID has really worn us out. And I understand, folks, dealing with anything for a year is bad. I spent 3 years in the Marine Corps with the threat of war over my head, training incessantly, knowing that any day we could be going. That is serious, serious trauma, emotional and mental trauma. I understand, but I'm saying all of that to say this. Take your breaks, do what you have to do, but protect yourself and your family. Today, the FDA paved the way. They voted to start rolling out this vaccine. I have mixed emotions about the vaccine. I'll be the first to admit it. I have mixed emotions about the vaccine. But six in one hand, half dozen in the other. When I look at the number of Thanksgiving revelers and travelers and family members who are now testing positive, I said maybe, just maybe. And I know I'm waffling. I didn't say I'm totally against the vaccine. I just said I need more data. And there was like 4 people of those that voted. There was an overwhelming response voting yes, but 4 people felt the same way I felt. One person took a dissension and refused to vote at all. So I'm with that 4 people. I just need more data to satisfy me, because you're telling me that pregnant women, you're telling me this, that, or the other, if you have certain allergies, so forth and so on, if you responded negatively to the flu vaccine, then we say you probably shouldn't take this. As of today already, John Hopkins has said that we've had more than 2,000, 2,100. I don't know what the count is. I turned the TV off so that I could concentrate on this. My personal estimation was that by December the 31st, we would surpass 300,000 deaths. Sadly, the health officials say we're on track to eclipse that number before Christmas. Again, I say it's a hell of a way to start 2021. I urge you, use your mask, remember your social distancing, and keep your family gatherings at a minimum. I mean, I just know how I posted pictures of my granddaughter and my other daughter. I have to get permission before I could post her daughter's pictures, and I understand that. And just like she's protective of her daughter's image being projected over social media, I feel the same way about this. If I went to visit my daughter and was asymptomatic, and my daughter, my granddaughter, my son-in-law, or anybody else caught something, and I found out that I was ground zero, I would be devastated. So I said, I'm making a sacrifice for future gains. So I urge you to do some of the same. Stick with your immediate family and your small extended family. These large, you just don't know. You don't know who's come into contact with whom. So I know I'm preaching, but I want each and every one of you and the people that you care about. She was telling me about her family members. One of my friends, Paulette, told me about her cousin. He was 51 years old. So I hear family of family dying, and I understand. I recognize as a healthcare official. I recognize if we make the sacrifice of large family gatherings this Christmas, Big Mama and Big Papa, and those of you with pre-existing conditions will be here to celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas in 2021, 2022, and beyond. So, folks, again, I know I'm beating a dead horse. Don't take the risk. We beat this bully, we can beat COVID, but it's going to take sacrifices and a group effort from all of us. My Creole powers. Here's where I talk about the things that are happening and make predictions. My first prediction is a no-brainer. Delusional Donnie will never consent, and he will not go away. He will continue to be despicable. He will continue to be bitter. He will continue to be delusional to the bitter end. They're going to have to, I can see him bolting the doors. Oh my God, they're going to have to fumigate the White House before the Biden family could. I ain't gonna even go there. But you know you pissed on the walls and pissed on the floor. Probably. You know you stole some silverware, what have you. Okay, you may have taken a couple paintings and replaced them with cheap knockoffs, but you know, I put nothing past this man. My second prediction, and this one is another no-brainer. I'll bet anybody $100,000 to a donut that Trump will not go to the inauguration. I say he was hold a rally. This is going to be his last rally from the Rose Garden in the White House while Biden is on the U.S. Capitol being sworn in as president. Meanwhile, his kids are going to be jumping on the plane, Air Force One, trying to get out of the country, just in case the presidential pardons don't cover them. So they're going to be going to some country with a non-extradition treaty with America. Mark my word. My third prediction. Here's the first struggle. You've got over 100 Republicans who are stepping up to support Trump. Meanwhile, we can't get all of the Democrats to sign off on a waiver so that retired General Lloyd Austin can be the defense secretary. It boggles my mind how they can sign on for lunacy and Democrats can't sign on for stuff that makes sense. So we're going to see, number three, we're going to see this power struggle continue. We're going to see a party feud, and the first party feud is going to be over General Austin. Okay? And it's going to continue. We're going to see the COVID vaccine be approved and administered, but there will be a shortage. When that shortage is made known to the public, all of the fears of this vaccine is going to evaporate, and it's going to be the hottest ticket since the Air Jordans were released in the middle of the stimulus, when you guys got your stimulus checks. There's going to be more people standing in line to get the vaccine than there was to get the iPhone and the new Jordans combined. Mark my words. Number 5, my Creole powers. Nancy is going to fight tooth and nail to hold on to that gavel. And that's going to be another power struggle. It's going to weaken the Dems. And Joe's going to have to make a couple appearances to try to calm the restless neophyte progressives in the House. Let's just hope he's successful and they don't retaliate by trying to retard his progressive policies. Number 6, even though Despicable Donnie is no longer in office, he will continue to do what he's doing now. Try his best to hold on to power by holding his minion hostage and telling them not to vote for anyone that doesn't support him. So just like there's going to be an inter-party struggle within the Democrats, the only saving grace is you're going to see the Republicans fight to get their party back. Mark my words. His mantra is going to be, like the Terminator, I'll be back. I'll be back. 2024, I'll be back. And those little dumbass minions who will continue to give up their hard-earned, the South Shore Rise Again milk money and lunch money, and he will continue to steal the money, minus pardons. The Republicans, on the other hand, they're going to fight to try to integrate these Trumpsters into the Republican Party and try to take back control of the GOP. That's going to be a much tougher fight than the inter-party struggles of the Democrats. So we're going to see some serious politics going on within the next year. Folks, last week I was so optimistic. I was feeling so good. And I told my daughter today, told my youngest daughter, I said, I am filled with enthusiasm because I feel like despite all of this drama, 2020 is ending on a good note. It's ending on a positive note. You know, I feel nothing but good vibes. Politics is tricks. These folks are always going to be struggling for power because that's why they ran for office to begin with. Sadly, I think the one person who really doesn't have anything to prove is Biden, and that's why I said he was the perfect person for the job. He's at the twilight of his career, and he's more concerned with legacy than he is with power. So it is what it is. That's all I got for you tonight. My numbers on YouTube are starting to come out. Big shout out to my YouTube people. I see you over there. Go to my YouTube. Subscribe, folks. Hit subscribe and click that bell. It'll let you know every time I'm posting something. I'm honored. I'm humbled that you guys come in, week out to spend your time with me this Thursday night. I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes. I'm clocking that time right about now. So I'm going to say, I'll see you here next week. Same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. As always, important, love, peace, hair grease. Your man is out of here. I got something to say. It must be true. I'm your host, Hank Batiste. Peace. Have a grease. See you next week. Continue to protect yourself.